Hi everyone, I'm here to do our final project. It was a pleasure working and learning with you all this semester. Teaching is one of the most impactful occupations. Teachers can use their teaching to help open doors in their students' world, giving their students the greatest gift, learning. Being a learner is one of the most fundamental characteristics of an outstanding teacher because without a love of learning, a teacher would lack motivation, passion, reason, and creative solutions. Motivation and passion will carry one to places he or she never dreamed possible. They allow one to learn, change, and become knowledgeable in ways that enrich those around them. An outstanding teacher will do just that, enrich and enable all their students. Education is not for the future, it is for now. A great teacher believes in his or her students, but an outstanding teacher will help students discover a reason to believe in themselves. Students, when given the opportunity, can truly teach. An outstanding teacher would not be afraid to speak of their students' intelligence. They would encourage them to pursue their passions by relating their passions to school content, because school content should not be just school content, but the keys to unlock the wonderful possibilities this world has to offer. Creatively solving problems should be embedded in the teacher's essence, so students can understand the importance of the process of thinking. It is only when children are encouraged to explore safely the incomprehensible forms of creativity within a classroom environment that they can make deeper connections with content material, life experience, and ultimately others. A place where risk-taking is seen as a necessity to innovate and improve, and a place where failure is a starting point, not a permanent condition. An outstanding teacher values the relationships of not only the students and the school staff, but the families and the community as well, because it takes a village to raise a child. As KID president said, "You want to change the world? You have to know about it." This is the gift I desire to give my students, the ability to know and change the world now. The unit I will be looking at is a first grade plant unit. The unit will cover plant needs, parts of both the seed and the plant, planting and observing, and this will take place over the course of planting brassica, wheat, lawn, both rye and alfalfa, roots including carrots and radish, bulbs including onions, and spuds like potatoes. It'll also cover plant parts we eat and the importance of pollination. We will wrap up the unit by incorporating a How to Be a Plant writing assignment using the mentor text How to Be by Lisa Brown. Throughout the unit, I will use multiple different approaches. Some of the synchronous approaches we will use would be in-class labs, where they would be doing the planting and observing. The interactive whiteboard responses on CoSketch, and that could take place through in the initial unit KWL, brainstorming the needs of a plant, labeling the parts of a plant, and brainstorming the verbs for the How to Be a Plant writing assignment. Some asynchronous approaches would be the observation recordings on KidBlog. I would have the students upload images and illustrations based on their daily observations and use the description of the lab findings. Nightly lessons and video recordings would be found on Edpuzzle, and some of those Edpuzzles could include BrainPop Junior. I believe by using the flipped classroom approach and having nightly lessons for the students to view would open up more opportunities for observations and recording those observations in a more formal presentation like the KidBlog. The culmination How to Be a Plant would be used. We will use one of the following formats: the Canva, which I used for this presentation, or Storybird. And we would also use an electronic portfolio to file the How to Be a Plant using the Seesaw website. Collaboration would take many different forms throughout this unit. Specific formats would be through the iPads. Our class has a limited number, so they would have to be sharing those throughout their observational period. An important app that they would be using for research could be the EPIC app. The camera and video would also play a key role for the observations. Lab work then would incorporate teamwork as they are planting and observing. Some considerations throughout the unit for management and assessment would be modeling. This would take place in the form of teacher modeling and shared modeling, where students are able to work alongside the teacher. Directions will be written and visual, and one new element at a time. I base this off of, if the concept is new, use a tool that the students are familiar with. If the tool is new, use a concept the students are familiar with. And I think that would really beneficial the modeling aspect. Setting clear expectations through examples and rubrics will also be critical for student understanding. Also providing checklists to keep students focused and on task. I would develop a strong questioning base that has higher level questions for me to use during the lab investigation and observations. I have learned a lot in this course. Some of my biggest takeaways are the fact that I can take tools used in an online teaching environment to enhance my students' brick and mortar learning experience. When I started this class, I had my hesitations about how I could apply online teaching in my classroom, because that's where I've always desired to teach, in a classroom. However, I quickly was introduced to many new tools and many just important teaching tips that I can take and use in my brick and mortar classroom. There are a vast amount of first grade friendly web tools. That was one of my hesitations to the online environment. I didn't know if there would be as many tools that are as accessible for first graders, but I quickly found that there are. Online lessons have the power to connect parents and students to the learning, which is one of the important notes that I took away from this. I have ELL learners in my classroom, and being able to have their parents see and hear what they're doing in class will be very beneficial. One of the key items I took from our Rice text was, the point is that the differences may not always lie in the instructional strategy, but in the tool and how it is used effectively to promote student learning. I saw online teaching and brick and mortar teaching as two completely different elements, and now I'm seeing how you can connect and weave them together. While they still have many differences, they have more similarities than what I had originally anticipated. Some questions that I'm still left with. How can I incorporate technology in a more meaningful way in my classroom? This was brought on through Rice's quote, "Which of the available tools is going to be most effective in engaging learners, encouraging interaction, and ultimately promoting student learning?" The second question I'm taking away, are my current tools accessible for my students? If not, how can I make them more accessible? And my third and final question that was brought on by Bergman and Sams, isn't it about time we embraced digital learning and used it to help our students learn instead of telling them they can't learn with today's tools? This led me to the question, what grants or funds can I apply to ensure my students have access to tools like iPads and computers for when they need them? This course has showed me that online teaching is both challenging and rewarding, just as learning in the classroom in a brick and mortar setting is. Thank you so much for sharing all your ideas and thoughts. I appreciated each and every one of your feedback. Thank you.